Listen, I'm gonna be real. My hair just got caught in my turtleneck and I started to take it out and then I was like, wait, I don't want to cut my hair, but I kind of like this. So I'm leaving it. It can just be clickbait for the thumbnail. But if you stayed, hi, welcome. I'm Jade of Jade Juniper, which is my name and my channel and my pen name. And today I'm going to be going over my autumn hopefuls, my autumn TBR, and the books I really want to read this fall. And I don't know if I'll get to them, but I have 3 months to do it. I'm going to be giving kind of rapid fire synopses for these because I have quite a long list, and my reasons why I'm picking these books vary between me really loving the author, thinking the synopsis is good, hearing a lot about it on booktube and just kind of getting the vibe, being a mood reader and seeing it on Libby and clicking yes, and just seeing a cover and not knowing anything about it. With that wide range, let's keep it simple. I'm going to go over the names, the titles, I'll have thumbnails here, and if I own it physically, that's rare. Okay, first I'm gonna go with some books I would consider macabre. The books I'm thinking I'm going to really want to read this fall because of the vibes and the atmosphere. The best word I can think of here is macabre to like tie these all together. First up is The Familiar. This is by Leigh Bardugo, and from what I understand, there is a kitchen maid or servant that's working in a noble house, and the head of this house finds out that this servant can do little miracles or small magics and uses that to propel her higher into high society. I've heard about this everywhere, but I really got intrigued when my friend Rachel read it. I will have her video linked down below where she talks more about it, along with her live shows. That's really what's gotten me to pick this up. I knew I eventually probably would because it's Leigh Bardugo. It's on my radar now because of those videos, and I'm super psyched to pick it up. I don't know much more. Then, fresh on my Libby app is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I love Ava Reid. She's on this list more than once, but the first time I'm mentioning her is for Lady Macbeth. I would say, from what I've heard, it's a Macbeth reimagining and told from Lady Macbeth's perspective. I don't know what I'm really getting into. I know Macbeth, but I don't know, based off of the fact that it's a reimagining that people are saying is like a bastardization of the original Shakespeare. I don't actually know how this is going to turn out. I just know I love Ava Reid's writing. She writes furious women well, and she's always a bit dreary. When I look outside right now, all I think about is Ava Reid because it is just bleak. It's bleak, but also kind of wonderful and atmospheric, and I'm just so glad it's not hot outside. That's why I'm going to be picking this up. Plus, it came into Libby literally today. I'm excited, I'm ready for it. Next, I have heard such mixed reviews about The Maidens, but it's also on Libby, and there's like no line for it, which you would consider that a red flag, and it probably is, but I have heard mixed results, meaning I've also heard good results from The Maidens, and I think if I go in understanding that this is going to be an acquired taste, I might have a lot of fun with it. I think it's being touted as a dark academia, but people also say it's a little bit more of a slower, more psychological thing. What I know about The Maidens is that a woman who is a group therapist's niece has someone close to her die or be murdered, and so the woman goes to the college where her niece goes to school and slowly begins to unravel this murder. I don't really know much more than that. I think that it could be interesting to have a group psychologist as a main character, and I hope that she's not dumb. Then I'm also hoping to pick up Monstrilio. This I have still about a 2 to 3 week wait for on Libby, but I'm very excited for it. I feel like I'm finally ready. This book, from what I understand, has very dark themes. A woman whose son passes away takes a piece of his lung and she holds on to it, and when she goes to stay with relatives, she's told that if you nurture a piece of a loved one's body after they've passed, it can turn into something new. She goes ahead and does this, and we have Monstrilio, which is some sort of terrifying little creature that she loves and nourishes. Let me know if you've read this one. It's on my 24 and 24 list, which is part of the 24 books I plan on reading in this year, and we're dwindling. 24 is dwindling. To wrap up the macabre section, we're back with Ava Reid, our dreary, lovely lady. I will be finishing A Study in Drowning. This follows an architect student. Her favorite author has passed away, and she is commissioned to renovate this home and make it something different. Along the way, she's kind of pulled into the mystery of maybe this author. I have started this book, and I'm not far enough in to give like qualifying thoughts, but I will say this main character feels, I can't use the word demure, It's all over the internet and it's killing me. A lot more of a softer character than what I'm used to from Ava Reid, and I think it's really interesting so far. It's keeping my attention, it's just not as exciting as some of her other books. But I'm enjoying it and I have it physically, so, you know, Libby can't hold me back on this one. For just plain old-fashioned murder, I have two books I'm very excited for. The first one is the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I picked this one up recently from the bookstore. I've heard really good things about it. It's a bunch of friends in a retirement home who solve like old cold cases, but someone in the retirement home dies of not natural causes, and they decide to try and solve the murder. This is a pretty beloved book, and I read the first chapter. The quirky writing style caught me off guard. I'm intrigued to pick this one up, and I think this is the right season for it. I'm glad I own this physically. It's gonna be one where I just want to sit down and have a cozy read, and while it's like a murder mystery, it's a cozy one. My next murder is less cozy, and that is The Chateau by Jacqueline Goldis. I haven't heard incredible things about this one, but it's free on Libby, and I just clicked it. The basic synopsis is a group of friends go to a chateau in France. I've heard that it's a full cast narration. I've heard less amazing things about the story, but I also found that I sometimes deviate from the norm when it comes to murder mysteries. I'm not a Riley Sager fan, but I did like The Writing Retreat, which is like touted as one of the most frustrating books within this sphere. I can be a little bit of enigma sometimes, and I think that that is what I am today. Did I ever finish talking about the synopsis? Friends go to a chateau, it's their friend's place, and I think somebody probably gets murdered. These books I don't really have as much of a category for, as it felt like they were just edgy. It felt like they were doing something different, and they weren't murder mysteries, they weren't horror stories, they weren't macabre, I don't know, they just seemed like they were edgy and they belonged in autumn. This is the most hodgepodge of the group. First we have Certain Dark Things. This is by Sylvia Morena Garcia. I love Sylvia Morena Garcia. She really can't do anything wrong. She writes in so many different subgenres, all within Mexico City or Mexico in general. She writes fantasy, horror, she writes sci-fi, and this is neo-noir. Certain Dark Things has a Mexico City that does not allow vampires, but vampires are a known entity and other parts of the world have them. This vampire is on the run. It seems like it's just chaos after chaos along the way, and I'm just expecting a really good time. Even if it was mediocre, Sylvia Morena Garcia's mediocre is above and beyond what I'd ever need out of a book. And that cover is stunning. I hope this is a really good book so that I can go out and hunt for it and own it. Next is My Best Friend's Exorcism. This is a Grady Hendrix book, and I've not gotten along super well with Grady Hendrix. I haven't hated his work, but I find something off-putting about the way he's writing, and I can't pinpoint it. I just know he almost offends me. I can't explain why. Maybe it's because I'm a millennial. I don't know. I just know everything I read from his, I enjoy, I have fun, and I'm a little annoyed by something. I don't know. He irks me. But I also think that he's a good writer and he writes entertaining stories, and I've been recommended this one as his best. So I'm hoping that this is the Grady Hendrix that I really end up enjoying. Two best friends, one ends up possessed, and then they try and do an exorcism. From what I understand, it has a lot of 80s vintage vibes. Two main characters do have like a really special best friendship, so that's nice. I do love friends. I do love friends. I do really love friendship dynamics, and I don't think that Grady Hendrix does an appalling job at writing female characters, so I am looking forward to this one, and I'm hoping that it's above a 3 for me, because I don't know if he's gotten there once. The Southern Guide to Slaying Vampires might have been a 4, but it was a low 4. It was a 4 where I thought about it. Then we have Bride. Bride is by Allie Hazelwood, and you might be thinking, why is this an edgy? I think that there's like taboo kink stuff in here. I don't actually know what I'm talking about, guys. I've seen people's reactions to reading this, and they're like blushing. They are sometimes confused. They're off-put. They feel uncomfortable, and I'm kind of really curious to see what this is about. What I know it's about is that vampires and werewolves within this society kind of like live together but have separate domains. They have treaties that keep them apart but, you know, like at peace. In order to keep the treaty in place, main character, don't know her name yet, vampire woman, ends up being married to werewolf man, and they hate each other and they're enemies and they love each other later. I'm not entirely sure. I figured I'd give it a shot, see what it was about, and this is the only season I can think of reading a vampire werewolf romance, which is completely out of my wheelhouse. Finally, in this category, this is where the edge is at. Hold on, I have to look up a synopsis because I can't find this book anywhere. I can't find a review about it. I can't find people talking about it. I randomly got it recommended to me on my Libby app. It was like, we think you'd like this. And I can't find a thing about it. It's called The Witch Stone by Henry Neff. And this cover alone did kind of get me. It got me to click on it at least. But the synopsis, I'm digging this. I really think I'm going to like this. An unforgettable, high-stakes, laugh-out-loud, funny novel. The Witchstone blends the merciless humor of The Good Place with the spellbinding fantasy of Neil Gaiman's American Gods. Meet Laszlo. Laszlo is always a win for me because I think of Laszlo Strange, which is Strange the Dreamer, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I digress. Okay. 800-year-old demon and hell's least productive curse keeper. I love a lazy demon. From his office beneath Midtown, he oversees Drakeford Curse, which involves a pathetic family upstate and a mysterious black monolith. It's a sexy enough assignment, but Laszlo has no interest in maximizing the curse's potential. He'd rather sunbathe in Ibiza, quaff martinis, and hustle the hustlers on Manhattan's subway. Unfortunately, his division has new management, and Laszlo's ratings are so abysmal that he's given 6 days to shape up or he'll be melted down and returned to the primordial ooze. The devil is in middle management, and I'm excited for this. It has like a vibe to it, and I just think, I think it's for me. We're gonna find out. I don't know for certain, but I'm going to take a chance on it, and I'm gonna report back. If you have read this book or know anything about it, let me know about it. My last little area is my cozy books that I think that fit into fall. I have 2. One is a T. Kingfisher book. T. Kingfisher is an auto-buy author for me. If T. Kingfisher writes a book, I'm eventually going to read it. A Sorceress Comes to Call. From what I understand, this has killer, horrible mother-daughter dynamics with a lot of trauma and anger and like finding oneself, and I would like to read that. From what I gather, and I haven't gathered much on purpose, our main character who has no doors in her house, she's not allowed to have friends, and she suddenly is unable to speak because her mother is a sorceress. When her mother tries to beguile a lord or like some sort of, you know, high society dude, the daughter tries to step in and prevent it because she thinks that her mother is up to no good. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited for this one. Another T. Kingfisher is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. This one's been out for a while, but it's like dough magic, bakery magic. A main character works in a bakery. Her magic is only really meant to be done with baking, but she stumbles into a murder mystery in which she must defend herself via baking. I've heard really great things about this one. It's like quintessential cozy autumn read, and I think I'm going to enjoy it more than I realized. I picked up the audiobook sample because I still have a bit of a wait for it. The opening definitely gave me a different tone than the cover gave me, so I think this it might actually get kind of like dark and creepy and crazy. I'm ready. Then we have The Third Gilmore. This is an autobiography by Kelly Bishop, who is the grandmother in The Gilmore Girls. I grew up watching The Gilmore Girls with my mom. I will be listening to it audibly. This is also narrated by Kelly Bishop, which I think is really great, and it's just something that feels like cozy and good and will take me back. I recently rewatched all of Gilmore Girls with my partner, and he really enjoyed it. All of the stories and information is fresh for me, and I would love another perspective. The grandmother and that dynamic within the story is something I didn't really appreciate my first time watching that show, but as an adult with generations of women that I've watched it with, I really got to appreciate it differently, and I'm looking forward to hearing on both her life and the Gilmore Girls. Hi, Editing Jade here. Editing Jade 2.0 here. I say in the next clip that this category is cover buys, and that is just blatantly not true. It's books that were recommended by people that I trust, and therefore I'm more likely to pick up, even though they aren't books I would naturally gravitate towards. Booktubers, friends, people that I take recommendations from who recommended things out of my wheelhouse that I'm now interested in, not because it's something I would pick up naturally, but because they recommended it. Hope that makes sense, because I'm about to say the opposite. Don't trust me. You can trust me. Don't trust the other Editing Jade. Or the original one. You know what? Good rule of thumb. The more makeup, the less you can trust me. So trust me. Just want to name a couple cover buys that I definitely am really interested in and don't know anything about. First, The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. A girl goes to Paris to stay in her brother's apartment, and I think he's missing. Then Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. This is supposed to be like a quirky break fourth wall kind of story where like everyone in this person's family has killed someone. It's all like the different murders or something like that. Don't know. Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll is a book that I was actually actually recommended by a friend locally here. She read it, kept raving about it. It's about the women in the Ted Bundy cases, but I believe that it is a non-fiction that's just really well told. Then everyone here is lying. A dad is having an affair, sees his kiddo on his way to his affair, then the kiddo goes missing, and he has to lie about him being the last one to have seen her because it incriminates him as well as breaks up his marriage, but kind of different people in the neighborhood giving their version of what happened to this girl, and hopefully you find out what happened to her and if she is missing or otherwise harmed. Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True is a Lisa Jewell book. I've been wanting to read one. None of This Is True, I think, is probably an unreliable narrator, much like myself, because I kind of went into this pretending like I knew what I was talking about, and that's just not true. Our Share of the Night is a father-son road trip after grieving the loss of the respective mother and wife of this family, and they go to her family home in order to learn more about her and end up in a cult, which they want to take the son. Sounds terrifying. And then finally, How the Fox Runs. I saw this cover and didn't need to know more about it, but I just looked up the synopsis just right now, and it says, Elise, an inmate at an asylum, wants nothing more than a life of freedom in the forest she loves. Charged with a murder of her lover, Elise is convinced she has been framed. Motivated by this belief, she manipulates, cheats, and steals her way out, only to be captured by a mysterious acquaintance who claims his intentions align with her own. And it has fairly good ratings for those who have reviewed it, so I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm glad that I randomly looked at this book's cover. Then finally, I would be so dumb if I didn't mention this last cozy autumnal read to you. If you know what it is, I'm so sorry. That means you've probably heard this pitch 1,000 times. I'll make it brief. My book, The Solstice Court, is a cozy political fantasy that takes place during the autumn equinox leading through autumn. Again, cozy political fantasy. We have Kezra, our main character, who's supposed to show neutrality in a war that is waged on either side of her kingdom. She's able to do this pretty effortlessly until the two heirs of the neighboring kingdoms come to her autumn court, and she has to find out if she can uphold neutrality or if neutrality is actually just more of an ideal and a concept and not so easily done. This book at its core has strong themes of platonic love, friendship, found family, as well as a dollop of romance and court intrigue. There are heavy topics that are dealt with in a little bit of a lighter hand. You get those humorous moments and those witty quips while also getting to the core of these characters and their motivations. I'm really excited and very proud of this book, and I can't believe it's coming out this September. It's coming out on autumn equinox, so you can pre-order it now. I have it in hardcover, pocket-sized paperback, and ebook. So if this is a book you think you might like, the links will all be down below. If you need to save it for later, I also have a Goodreads and Storygraph link. I'm really excited for autumn. I'm glad it's finally here. I had a fantastic summer, and I have a video talking all about it, but really I'm just feeling energized and refreshed and ready to read all of these books, cozy up with a drink, and have a dreary day. I'd love to know if you have an autumn read you are looking forward to, if any of these books were on your list, or if they were new to you. Thank you all for watching. If you got to the end of this video, you can go ahead and leave a goat emoji for my witchstone find, but whether you do or not, I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. Until next time, bye!